My name is Victor Fuhrman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me now and we will explore these topics and so much more with fascinating guests, authors, and experts who will guide us to Destination Unlimited. May we call upon our intuition to make important decisions about relationships, careers, business, and other major choices. My guest this week on Destination Unlimited, Nanci Deutsch, has been guiding and supporting clients on using intuition to step into their most inspired and empowered life. Nanci is a licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, certified intuition energy coach, and several other modalities. She currently produces and hosts a radio show called Inspired and Empowered Living on W4W, W4CS, and healthcafelive.com. And she can be found on iHeartRadio podcasts as well, with over 1 million listeners to date. Her website is nancideutsch.com, and she joins me this week to share her path and inspired work. Please join me in welcoming to Destination Unlimited, Nanci Deutsch. Welcome, Nanci.
Thank you so much, Victor. I'm so happy to be here with you.
And happy to have you join us. Nanci and I met during an ARE of New York function several months ago. ARE is the Edgar Cayce Society, and they have a New York chapter, and they were having a function, and I met Nanci there and thought she'd make an excellent guest for our show. So here we go. Nanci, please share with our listeners your path and how it led to your calling.
First of all, I am so grateful to be a licensed clinical social worker over 30 years, a certified hypnotherapist, and an intuitive coach. And I'm grateful to be able to use my counseling, coaching, and intuitive work with the clients and transform lives. But for a long time, when I was growing up, I had a lot of trauma. And that trauma led to anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And I suffered with these conditions for many, many years. And what was happening was, even though I was doing my social work and working with people and kids, it was affecting my work. And I knew that I needed to heal, and I knew I needed to transform my trauma. And what happened was I was doing some work with a friend, and we were doing what I call emotional release work, really connecting with our bodies and our emotions. And she told me about this trauma training where I could learn how to heal my trauma and also heal others' trauma. And when she told me that, my whole body was like, yes, my intuition. And I've always had intuition. And as I've healed the trauma, my intuition has gotten better and better. And I knew that I needed to do this training, and I enrolled in the training. And after I enrolled in that training, I also started taking NLP training, and I've become a certified hypnotherapist. And also I am now certified to actually train people to learn hypnosis and become certified as hypnotists or hypnotherapists. And what happened was, as I gathered all these skills through the years, and I worked on healing my trauma, my personal and my professional growth really coincided because I'm all about holistic health, the body, the mind, the emotions, and the spirit. And I started developing my intuition more and more. And it just really, one thing led into another. And spiritually, I've grown so much. And that's what I love to do is I really love to transform other people's lives working in a holistic way. And so that's really what I've done through the years to sum it up. And I'm so grateful that I've done all the work that I have. And then what I've been able to do then is bring it all together in systems. And I've created the Intuition Advantage and the Soul Adventures work, which I love sharing with people.
And we'll talk about those as we go on with the interview. Just an interesting observation. You had mentioned trauma, and that trauma led you into a search for a practice for healing. You were going to heal others, but in the same process, you're healing yourself. So many of us who are called into healing, myself included, can speak to that same phenomenon.
Yes.
That we are looking to heal others, but we're really looking to heal ourselves, aren't we?
Yes. There's actually have you ever heard of the wounded healer?
Absolutely, the wounded healer.
Yes. And I think that happens for many people going into the healing profession, is that you want to be able to help others. You have this big heart and you really want to make a difference in this world. And you also need healing. And I really feel that as we heal others, we also help to heal ourselves.
Absolutely. So you enumerated all of these wonderful modalities that you bring to bear. Let's start with hypnosis. What is a hypnotherapy session like with you?
So the first thing is I want to help people understand that hypnosis is a powerful healing tool, and it's gotten a bad rap from stage hypnosis, that really people are really in control, that you cannot be controlled by someone else unless on some level you're willing to be. And that's really important. And when you come into a healing session, I talk about how it's really a tool, and I want someone to feel really safe, and I help them connect more deeply to themselves and really feel a connection with me, because whether it's me or another hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, a person needs to feel safe so that they can allow themselves to be able to let go of the subconscious ego, not the subconscious, the conscious and our ego self, in order for our subconscious and the information that's in our subconscious mind and superconscious mind to come to the surface.
What do most people who come to you for hypnotherapy, what are they looking for?
Well, first of all, there's a couple of things I'd like to explain, because I realize that just for the sake of being on the same page with everybody, I just like to talk about my quick Psych 101, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind, so people know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Our conscious mind is the part of the person that, if they're choosing to listen to this podcast, thank you for joining us, and that you've made a conscious decision. Your conscious mind empowers you to make conscious decisions. Your subconscious mind is the part of you from the moment you were conceived to present time. And I also include past lives and ancestral trauma that is all in our subconscious mind, in our energy field, in what is also called the chakras, in our DNA. And those are the places where hypnosis can get to. And hypnosis also has the power to connect with our superconscious mind, which are the higher aspects of ourself, like our higher self. the wise, unconditionally loving self, and our soul. And hypnosis, that's what I love to do, is help people connect more deeply to their higher self and their soul and heal the child inside. So I very often in hypnosis I'm working with these different aspects of self to really help someone transform their life. So clients can come to me. They may be having challenges around money blocks, or they're having anxiety and they don't know where the anxiety is coming from, or their fear of being visible and being seen, being heard, all of those pieces. And what we do together is help them uncover the cause of the issue, which is in the subconscious mind, to heal it.
Do you also work with those who are looking to change habits?
Yes, because my statistic that when I found, it's not my statistic, it's a statistic that I discovered. And when I found it out, I was blown away. Actually, 95% of our behaviors, our thoughts, and emotions are from our subconscious mind. And so there's habitual behaviors that we are doing all the time, and you don't even realize you're doing it. So yes, I definitely help people shift behaviors.
I've heard some people say they can't be hypnotized. Is that true?
What I believe, and there are people who are more able to be hypnotized or more susceptible to it. And I don't even want to use the word susceptible. They're more easily allowing themselves. If someone, and this is my belief, my feeling, if someone is having a really hard time letting go of control or not feeling safe to let go, they may have more difficulty allowing themselves to be hypnotized, because really what hypnosis is changing their state and helping them to relax. Hypnosis is a relaxed state of body and mind, or a more focused state. And I will say that we all are hypnotized throughout the day. How many times have you been driving and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, how did I get here? You were in a hypnotic state. Or when you're listening to or watching the TV or a movie, you're in a hypnotic state, because if you're really involved in the movie or in the show, you're actually hypnotized into being there. So it's really an altered state of consciousness, but being in the relaxed state. If someone has a hard time relaxing, what I do with them is help them practice breathing and practice relaxing in order for them to be able to be more likely to allow themselves to relax enough to go into a hypnotic state.
Another thing in your toolkit is called intuition energy coaching. How do you use your intuitive gifts working with clients?
I have so much fun using my intuition. It brings me, like, I have clients, like, for example, Emma, she will come in to a session and feel so stressed out and so angry. And then by the end of the session, she's like, you can see the smile on her face, or you can feel that she's totally shifted because she feels more peaceful and relaxed. And what I do during a session using my intuition, I am very grateful that I have all the intuitive gifts. I see, feel, hear, and know the different information. The way that I define intuition is being able to experience and perceive information beyond the physical senses. So as I'm in a session with someone, I may get information, I may see a vision, or I may hear a guide, or sometimes I hear loved ones that have passed on, or I may get I also can read the chakras, the energy centers within our beingness, and I can see where a chakra is blocked in someone's energy field. So sometimes I'll scan a person's energy, and then we start working on the chakra. Like what happened with Sally, she came in and she was feeling a lot of grief and feeling a lot of energy. And when I scanned her chakra system, I could see the throat chakra was blocked. And what happened was, as we worked during the session, she was able to express the grief and cry and actually verbalize. And by the end of the session, she was able to speak and feel more relaxed, and her throat was clearer.
So you use primarily clairvoyance, is that correct?
I use them all.
You use them all.
I am very grateful and blessed, Victor, that I have all the intuitive gifts. And so however the intuition comes to me is how with the client, everybody's different and every session is different. So I may get a knowing, I may get a vision, I may hear, or sometimes I'm feeling and my favorite thing, it's really funny. Like if you ever see me, I get the chills, or I get this energy going down my back, and you'll see me making a movement, and me and the client end up laughing because we know that that's a confirmation from spirit that, yes, this is right on target.
So I also have all the clairs, and I call myself an eclair. I think you're a sister eclair.
Oh, I love that. I never heard that. That's really cute. I love that.
I think I made it up, but that's okay. Another one of your tools is called PEER, Peer Emotional Release Work. What's that like?
Okay, so when I had mentioned in my story that I was doing emotional release work, that's really what PEER is. And PEER, primary energy emotional recovery, is really allowing yourself to connect with the body. And a lot of the work that I do with clients is body centered. And it's very powerful, and it can shift somebody really quickly out of issues and beliefs, much more than just working at the mind and emotions level. So with the emotional release work, it's connecting with the body, connecting with the sensations, and allowing whatever emotion or belief or memory that comes up to surface and to be expressed. So another example is Julie came in, and she was actually not really present, and she was kind of feeling really stressed out, really like in her head and thinking. So what I do with clients like Julie is I help them start breathing and becoming present, because that's what happens when you connect with the body, is you start becoming aware of your breath. You become aware. I had people become aware of their feet. And that's what I did with Julie, is I had her become aware of her breath and her feet and start to notice sensations in her body. And what she noticed is she was feeling a lot of fear in her stomach. A lot of clients feel that fear in the stomach, and the fear can either be fear or excitement, but a lot of times the fear is your stomach may be in knots. And so what I did with Julie is I would help her be able to really feel the emotions, the fear and the memories or the beliefs or whatever was coming up for her around the sensation in her stomach. And by the end of the session, she's able to feel more grounded and centered and relaxed. It's very powerful work.
A lot of people don't realize that fear and excitement both stem from the same area of the body.
Yes, yes. And they're opposite, they're the same energy at opposite ends. It's actually really cool. So you can actually turn fear into excitement.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. The modality that you practice that truly piqued my curiosity is psychoneuroenergetics. What is the foundation of this practice and how will a session unfold?
So psychoenergetic neuroenergetics is actually the practice of, and what happened for me is I actually am not practicing, but I've learned and used the tools. And what it is, it's again body-centered work. And it's actually touching points on the body and allowing the person on the table to go into a very deep state where they're processing through the trauma to release it in the nervous system. And it's, again, the process could be just on the body sensation level. It could be working with the memories and the emotions and also spirit. So it's a very holistic approach. It's a very powerful approach.
You have all of these wonderful tools and modalities in your toolkit. How do you determine which client will benefit from which modality?
I also have NLP, neuro-linguistic.
That's right.
Intuition. I really, what happens for me is I really listen to what a client is experiencing and let intuition guide me. And I get guided to what is for the highest and greatest good for the client during that session.
Do you have a personal favorite?
I usually, when I'm working with people, I'm always bringing them back to their body, because to me, it's really a holistic approach, working on the body level, the emotions, the mind, what are they thinking, the awareness, bringing them into presence, and then, of course, spirit. So I actually am combining all the different things and tools that I do, because what has happened through the years is I've developed my own work from all the different skills and tools and modalities. And so I really, and then it's really cool. It's so much fun. Sometimes it sometimes amazes me, like spirit gives me a message to work with somebody in a way that I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. And then we do it, and it really has a profound transformational effect on them. So I will say, I love all my tools and I'm grateful for all of them. But what I love the most, because I have fun using the intuition.
Absolutely.
It's intuition. What can I say?
I knew you were going to say that.
You're so intuitive. You're an A-Claire. I got that.
I'm an A-Claire. You're an A-Claire. We're all A-Claires. My guest is Nanci Deutsch. Nanci, please tell our listeners about your website and what listeners will find there and how they can get a hold of you.
Okay. So the easiest way, it's nancideutsch.com, Nanci with an I. But what I'd say is you can also go to Nanci, NANCID.me, and that will get you to nancideutsch.com. It's kind of an easy way to go there. And on my website, I have the different work that I do. And then I want to share, I have an intuitive decision-making meditation that I would love to share with your listeners. And this intuitive decision-making meditation can help you make the best decisions by connecting with your higher self and your intuition. And you can get that meditation by going to inspiredandempoweredliving.com /meditation. So again, inspiredandempoweredliving.com/meditation.
And we'll be back with more of Nanci after these words on the OMTimes radio network.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
We've all felt left out. And for people who move to this country, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Back on Destination Unlimited, my guest this week is Nanci Deutsch. Nanci, you say that intuition is the key to a joyful and fulfilling life. How may listeners develop their skills and put them into practice?
Intuition is really, I believe, is God's gift to us, or the universe, or whatever you want to call the higher power. And intuition is the way through to be able to move yourself and take it step by step towards what you need in order to create the inspired and empowered life. And so the first step in being able to connect with your intuition would be to start working on grounding and becoming present. And using your breath, allowing yourself to connect with your feet, your breath and your feet, and really working with that, because you cannot be aware of your intuition if you're in your head. If you're hanging out in your head and your mind is so active, and there's the mind chatter, and if you're in the mind chatter, what's most important is that you come out of the mind chatter so that you bring yourself into present time so that you can connect with your intuition. And your intuition, you may see a vision, you may feel the gut feeling, or you may feel a sensation in your heart, or you may hear words, or you may get a knowing. And the intuition can come in all those different ways.
I'm going to share a quick story, a personal story. I've been intuitive, as I mentioned jokingly said in the first segment. I'm an éclair. I have clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, etc. And this has manifested in different ways throughout my life. About 3 years ago, we were driving on a local highway, my wife, my son, and myself. And I was in the third lane, and we were going at the speed limit, which is 50 miles an hour. And there's a lot of traffic, but everybody was moving. And my intuitive voice said, "Get out of this lane now." Now, I had no physical reason to do that. I didn't see anything. I didn't sense anything. But the voice said, "Get out of this lane now." And I've learned throughout life to listen to the voice, especially when it's giving me an admonition. And immediately,
Yes.
I went from the third lane, the left lane, to the center lane. Within 5 seconds, there was a multiple car pileup, and I would have been right in the middle of it in that left lane.
Wow. I love that. I mean, I love that, that you really listened to your intuition and acted on it.
Absolutely.
And that is so important. I'd love to share a story too. Can I share?
Please, of course.
Yeah. So I was sitting sometimes what I do in the morning, because usually I like to start my day in a spiritual way with my morning practice. And I was sitting, having my tea and my candles. I would have 3 candles. There's a center one, and one to the left and one to the right. And my friend, Josie, had recently lost her soulmate, and she was having a lot of grief. And I was sitting in front of the candles, and all of a sudden the left candle went out. And I got the sense that that the candle, that it was giving me a message. And I started hearing her soulmate, and he said, call up Josie and let her know it's not her fault and she's not alone. So I called her up and I told her the message, and she went, oh, and I'm like, what? And she goes, a half an hour ago, I was sitting in front of my candle and I said, if you're here, David, if you're here, let me know. And the candle didn't go out and she didn't get any message at that moment. He made sure that I called her to give her the message so that she knew that she wasn't alone.
What a wonderful gift.
And what I really want to share is that when you have that impulse, or when there's something, like if you're getting the feeling, like I always support people to follow the impulse to call that person or follow that voice or the feeling to go somewhere or do something, especially if it's going to support somebody else, do it, because it's such a powerful healing for both of you.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That's a wonderful, wonderful story.
Thank you.
You say that using intuition will help us make better decisions and take inspired actions. Please give us some examples.
Okay. So what happens right now, I'm working with a lot of women to help them with their business and to help them move forward in their business. So I'll give you an example. Samantha would come in and she would feel really stressed out because of a relationship that she was in that was actually interfering with her business. And so we worked on clearing the energy of what was keeping her stuck. And then I would say to her towards the end of the session, I would say, let's help you connect with your higher self, this wise, unconditionally part of you. And if there's a decision that you need to make to move you forward in your business, like, is there some specific person that you need to contact that you haven't been because you've been distracted? And so So what we did was she was able to connect with her higher self, and she got a really clear answer that she needed to call this person the next day, not that day, but the next day, that she was being given guidance when to call and how to call, and we talked about what she could do to introduce herself and to connect with that person. So that's one of the ways. It's really the way that I always share with, and I have an intuitive decision-making meditation that I've created because I really have watched how powerful it is to help people connect with themselves, clear their energy, connect with the higher self, and then ask the question and get the answer so that they can take the action that will move them forward.
Absolutely. And you talked about helping people in business situations, and I have a couple of questions on that. With
Sure.
the tapering down of the pandemic and many returning to in-person business environments, you share that we need new and effective communication strategies for the workplace. What are those strategies?
First of all, I really believe that what needs to happen in the workplace is more of a team approach. When having management being able to engage the people above and below, and really coming together basically more as a community so that it's cooperation. Because when there is engagement and community and team building, the morale goes up. And it shifts and it changes, and it really creates more productivity and more effectiveness in the workplace. And people enjoy going to work rather than dreading it.
And what do you say to the boss who's a micromanager?
What do you say to the boss who's a micromanager? Well, it's learning how to navigate those situations. And here's the thing. If the person is able to hear, and when I coach people differently in business situations than I do in personal situations, because if it's a personal relationship, you want to be, and you want that relationship to grow and to heal, you want to get more intimate and share from a healthy communicative place. I am feeling when you blah, blah, blah. In the workplace, if it's a micromanager, it's really learning how to set your boundaries in healthy ways and being able to express yourself in a healthy, appropriate way. And the more that you get that you're able to express, and I have a client, and we'll call her Dolly. And Dolly, what would happen is her boss could be a micromanager. And what's happened as Dolly and I have been working together, what she has been able to do is she's learned it's okay to set boundaries, and it's important to take care of herself, and her self-worth and self-identity and self-confidence have grown. And as her self-worth and self-confidence have grown, she is able to set healthy boundaries with her boss in ways that she wasn't able to before. And I think that that's really an important piece. The more that you get that you are worthy and deserving to set boundaries, and you can communicate it in effective ways, like, I need this. And within business, you want to show and talk about the benefits. I need to leave early so that I can take care of myself so that I can come back the next day and be more effective and productive.
Absolutely. What about stress in the workplace? How do you address that?
Stress in the workplace, it's really important that each person do their individual work in the workplace. And there's ways during the course of the day, like doing breathing exercises, just even deep breaths. What happens with stress is that you shut down your lungs, you shut down your body, and it contracts. And learning to become aware and notice that you're really stressed or you're in your head, and then starting to do some deep breaths, like taking a deep breath, belly breath. The belly goes out, and on the in breath, the belly goes in. And you do that like 2, 3, 4 times, especially letting the out breath be longer. It can actually help de-stress you. And it's something that you could do at your desk, or you could do in the bathroom. It's a quick exercise for stress management in the workplace. Ideally, what I would love to see is more companies being able to hire people like me or other people who can come in to do stress management and stress reduction techniques and tools to help their employees be able to handle the stress in a more effective way. And also, I will tell you that too much stress is unhealthy, but we need stress to be more efficient and function, but not too much. There's like a balance point, a healthy point.
It'd be great for companies to substitute a meditation and breathing break for a coffee break, huh?
I love that. That's a great idea.
Absolutely. Are people finding it difficult to build relationships in the workplace after a period of virtual work for so long?
What's happening is I think a lot of people are actually glad to connect with people after being virtual. But what's happening is a lot of places are doing hybrid. So they may be still working at home some of the time and then going into the office some of the time. It really depends on the workplace. I think it also depends on the person. There are some people, they may prefer virtual and they may have a harder time reconnecting. And then there are some people like, oh, I'm so happy to reconnect. So it really depends on the person, on how they like to navigate relationships and how they feel, if they have social anxiety or they don't have social anxiety, or if they love connecting with people and they thrive on connection, they're going to be more likely to enjoy being back at work with someone that may not always like that connection. They have a more difficult time.
And I personally find that the connection in the workplace, if you have a good team,
yes,
that the intuitive work becomes mutual and you sort of benefit each other in the process of thinking.
Yes, definitely. Because that's all about teamwork, like what I was talking about before. And there's like an energy that happens where you're working as one. Like the saying, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Right.
And that's what happens when you come together as a team, and how powerful that can be in the workplace.
Before we take our next break, I understand you have a TV show.
Yes, I have a TV show. And I also just want to repeat about the intuitive decision-making meditation, because I mentioned it. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll talk about the TV show. You can go to get the meditation at inspiredandempoweredliving.com/meditation. And my TV show is on Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's a TV show and also a podcast on W4WN.com or Talk4TV.com. And if someone goes to Talk4TV.com at 11 a.m. Eastern on Tuesdays and they click the link, watch live, they'll go to the YouTube, and then we can chat. I have so much fun, and we chat, and they can ask questions and make comments. I like to make it workshopy, so it's a lot of fun.
And you have guests.
Yes.
And who are some of those guests?
So I recently, and I will let you know, I just started the TV show portion. I'd love to have you come on.
Oh, thank you.
So we will definitely talk about that. And I had a guest recently about being creative and how to increase your creativity. So, and I'm just really working on growing the TV show. So yeah, I definitely would love to have you, and working on getting more guests to come. What happens a lot of times is I love teaching. So a lot of times I'm teaching concepts like how to live an inspired and empowered life, or like the one that I just did was healing and clearing fear. So it's very action oriented, what people can do to help them move forward in their life by doing the practices that I coach during the session, during the TV show.
Wonderful. And we'll be back with more of Nanci after these words on the OMTimes radio network.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates. nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Dad, I picked up your pills, made your lunch, and your laundry is done.
When you care for a loved one, you take care of everything. But are you taking care of yourself? Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back on Destination Unlimited, my guest this week is Nanci Deutsch. Nanci, many struggle to find worthiness and love within themselves. You say that loving oneself is an art. What do we need on our artist palette to paint that self-loving portrait?
I love how you added that in. That was great. So it's the art of self-care. Self-care is crucial, and learning to honor yourself, learning to honor your feelings, learning to take care of your body, your mind, your emotions, and your spirit. It's really the holistic approach is really crucial in learning to love yourself more. And every piece is important. Being able to take care of your body, where you're nurturing your body with healthy food, you're getting good sleep, you're listening to your body. That's about what I was talking about, the presence and the awareness, because our body is constantly giving us messages. And then the emotions, allowing you to be able to feel your feelings, whatever it is. And the way that I talk about feelings is especially anger, because anger can be a really challenging feeling for a lot of people. And the way that I say it is you want to be able and give yourself permission to feel your feelings as long as you're not hurting yourself, someone else, or the environment, like destroying property. And it's breathing through the feeling, allowing, just really becoming friends with your feelings, which really helps grow self-love. And then it's the self-talk. That's the mind. What are you saying to yourself? How are you talking to yourself? Are you being the critic, or are you learning to do the self-love? I have a client, Edie, and Edie, when she first started seeing me, she was so critical and she was beating herself up all the time. And now she says, I am doing my self-talk, saying, instead of saying, I can't do it, she's like, I can do it. And it's becoming aware of the self-talk and what are you saying to yourself, and then starting to change it and shift it and heal it. And then there's the spirit, and learning how to connect more deeply to your higher self, that wise, unconditionally loving self, and your soul, and connecting more deeply. And then, of course, as you and I both know how much fun it is to connect with our guides, and whether it's seeing or feeling or hearing or seeing the signs in the universe that are constantly there, that's connecting with the spirit and connecting with our loved ones, because we're constantly getting the signs and the messages. And I feel like I need to share this story. So I was really feeling very down one day. I was really feeling so depressed and really having a really hard time. And I was driving to get my hair done. And on the way there, I heard the song by Josh Groban. I actually have a list of inspirational songs. And the song by Josh Groban that came on was You Are Loved.
Mm.
And what I noticed was the song, what came on exactly at 3:21, which is my mother's birthday.
Oh.
And I knew that she was, I knew that she was letting me know that she was there and that she loves me.
Oh.
And then I get to the hair place, and I sat in a seat that I don't normally sit, waiting for my beautician to call me. And I look up, and there is a sign saying, "You are loved."
Oh,
And then and then there's one other piece. So I go into the chair, and my hairdresser introduces me to her assistant, and her assistant's name is Christina. And I had lost a dear friend named Christina.
oh.
I knew, and my mother and Christina are up there, and I knew they were both saying, "You are loved," and that we love you.
That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. That was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. So the signs are so important, and knowing that you are loved, that every one of us is loved, and that we are never alone, and it's learning to love ourselves. And it is an art, and it's a process, and it's a practice. It's not something that happens overnight. It's a journey, and it's a journey that never ends, because even we're unlimited beings, and the more that we can learn to love ourselves, it just keeps expanding and expanding, and we can bring more joy and love into our lives the more we love ourselves. And the more that you love yourself, the more your life changes.
Absolutely. And as you shared before in the second segment, it's also about establishing healthy boundaries. The word no is a complete sentence. That was a lifelong lesson for me that I only learned a couple of years ago, that
Yes.
I finally established that boundary of healthfully and embracing myself, loving myself, and being able to say no to someone.
That's huge. Congratulations, Victor.
Thank you.
That is absolutely huge, because boundaries is one of the biggest issues that clients come to me, having trouble setting those boundaries, having trouble being able to say no, having trouble being able to even speak your truth and speak those boundaries. And it's really important. That's self-love. That's essential self-care.
Absolutely.
And
as I jokingly shared recently, I'll change the subject matter, but at my age, I'm approaching 70, and I take several medications, which are fine. I'm in very good health.
Good.
But one of the medications I have to take is something that used to be called Lasix. It's now called furosemide, which is basically a water pill. It helps you eliminate extra water from your body.
Uh-huh.
When my doctor asked me, "Are you taking your water pill?" I said, "Absolutely." And I guess that makes me a pee pill pleaser.
Okay, I love it.
I know. You share also that within each of our souls, there are secrets. How may we uncover these secrets and embrace what they have to offer?
I love soul work. And what happens when I'm with clients is I actually sometimes I get information. I was with a client, Thelma, and when she had a really close friend, and during the session, and she was depressed and she was really struggling. And what I wanted her to know was, because what I got was that she and this friend, she was able, that they had planned before they came in to be buddies, to really support each other on the earth journey. And what happens is, and I use hypnosis to be able to uncover the secrets of our soul and be able to discover those deeper levels of what's going on. And I've taken many clients to those deeper levels of understanding, asking their soul questions, and being able to go and understand why they have the lessons they have, why the relationships are difficult, or understanding what a relationship has done for them, understanding the lessons around their soul. That's part of the secrets of the soul. But those are the things that our soul actually really want us to learn. It's part of our spiritual and personal growth, is to learn more about who we are, why we're here, what our life purpose is, what our soul lessons are, what is our soul contracts with ourselves, our mission, our purpose, and with other people in our lives.
In 1986, the group Genesis released a song called Land of Confusion. Many of us are living in a world and time of unprecedented confusion. How may we find clarity and renewed purpose?
The most important thing to remember is the self-care. I actually say my motto is self-care is self-preservation. And as you develop your personal and spiritual growth, that you can begin to separate yourself out from what's happening in the world. And it doesn't mean being not caring. What it means is not letting it get to you so that you're stressed out. It's learning to go more deeply in to find the peace, because within our soul and within our source energy, within that deepest part of us is the energy of peace. And it's learning to go deep into that place of peace. And as we learn to do that, the confusion fades and we learn the value and the importance of peace. And we become the light for the people around us.
My guest, Nanci Deutsch. Nanci, one more time, please tell the listeners where they can find your website, your meditation, and everything you have to share.
Thank you so much, Victor. Okay, so my website is nancideutsch.com. The intuitive decision-making meditation that will really help them with making their best decisions by connecting with their higher self and their intuition. And they can get that at inspiredandempoweredliving.com/meditation.
Nanci, thank you so much for joining us and sharing this wonderful and powerful message.
I just want to say thank you so much, Victor. It was so much fun. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on Destination Unlimited. I'm Victor, the Voice Fuhrman. Have a wonderful week.